And if I can give about 10 minutes of quick, lecture on this, would say that the question of many different gods, the different of what is God brings us to three different perspectives. One is there are many gods. The other one is the idea of there's one God, and there's another one is the notion there's a human God. Three things, right? What are the religions that that believe in many gods? One is Hinduism, okay. But one give an example of yes.
Is Hinduism I know when they have when cultures worship a whole bunch of gods let's say the Greek mythology they have one thing Zeus, he's the one the leader, I guess you could say. In Hinduism, who would be the Zeus counterpart then?
All right, Hinduism is, again, when we talk about all the different ideas of God in different religions, we have to go into that particular religion and think like the people who believe in that religion, because it's a cultural phenomena when talking about things. The language you use, the understanding, the consciousness, the relationship between the concepts and sub-concepts, the worldview is different, the origin of it is different, and the ending of it is different in that particular belief system. So, in Hinduism, for example, the God is Brahma. Right? But there are different divisions of, different ways to look at the function of God itself. For example, the whole idea that Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu. It's three gods, right? Brahma is all-encompassing, all-knowing, is a knower of everything, is just beyond comprehension, is just unseen, is just manifest in everything. Every single thing in life, the universe and everything is by the will of Brahma. And then you have the Shiva, which is the sustainer, and Vishnu, the destroyer. Right? Yes.
Didn't Brahma or Shiva conceive Krishna? Was that the story?
That's reincarnation, yes. And in the belief system of the Hindus and in many religions, God enters into the affairs of human being. Just like the Greek gods, right? How many times did Zeus goes into the human affairs and impregnate another human being, and then suddenly you get Cyclops, you get Hercules, you get everything. And how many times did Poseidon, whatever that, many different gods go into, so that gods that are fighting among each other, it's like a subcontracting, like going to war in other countries, but instead of sending your own army, you give your privatize the army, but machinery. It's like in Iraq, like the Halliburton, the major contractors, they go into the different and they train the people. They go into the country to train the natives, so the natives can fight with other natives that are in warring faction, and you don't have to. You can sit back and say, well,
Yeah,
this is.
generals. What is the name of the third god?
Shiva.
God? For the Indian.
For the Hindus, it's Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu. That's right.
Vishnu?
Yeah, Vishnu. Vishnu, Vishnu.
Okay. And what that god does?
Brahma is all-encompassing, the creator.
Right.
Vishnu is the Shiva is the destroyer. Vishnu is the preserver.
Wait, who is the sustainer?
Well-
not Shiva? I think it's Shiva is a
Sustainer, yeah.
right? And Vishnu
Destroyer.
The destroyer. Oh.
We'll go to that. We'll go into that detail. I might. I have the notes on this, and but going back to the whole idea of many gods. One of the things that many people believe that in more than one God, right? Particularly the Hindus, and because people believe because God is a controller of some part of the universe, and that the controller of a particular aspect of life, and that when supernatural beings are being worshipped by people because of the personification of a force of nature. Right? So Brahma is the force of nature, and it's difficult to for the Western mind, for the Christian mind, for the minds of other religions to understand the concept of this all-encompassing being. Again, because when you get into understanding that particular religion, you're not just understanding it from the point of view of West, but from the point of view of trying to understand the entire complexity of the language itself, right? And language itself is very complex when you get into the whole idea of translation. And how many languages can one learn in one's lifetime in order for one to understand the varieties of religious experiences? Right? So your mind is the mind of thinking about God in your language, right? Whereas the Hindu thinks in his or her language and goes back to the language of the Sanskrit, which is language used to, to compile the scriptures.
So in other words, then you're saying it's very important that we understand the connotation of that.
Right.
And that's very difficult.
Oh, that's difficult. Yes, indeed. Indeed, that's.
Well, the thing is that if religion was created by humans, how can we trust the scriptures that eventually at one point they would translate it? Wouldn't they be manipulated into something else, or?
Yeah,
That's a $64 million question right up from Edgewater. If it really, again, rephrase the question.
The question is, if religion is human-made, how can we trust the scriptures, which at one point they were translated into a different language? How do we know that they were not manipulated, or up to a certain point made up, or?
Okay. All religions have scriptures, and again, the scripture is a collection of things that has been collected over centuries, thousands of years. The Hindu scripture, the sutras, the Puranas, the Vedas, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, all this, for example, been compiled. The thousands and thousands of verses, compiled from the oral tradition to the written text. And in compiling this, all the stories are weaved the stories of God, stories of God, the battle between good and evil. And think of the people who compiled this. Who are the ones who were able to get access to the interpretation of all these things?
for this work is used the canon.
The
Canon.
Okay. Meaning that I'm talking about the group of people who get access to
Only people who know how to read and write.
only people who know how to read and write, the literate ones. Yeah.
Educated men.
Okay, men, yes, right. It's a male-dominated enterprise of translating and compiling scriptures, right?
Yes.
And females, in many religion in the past, females does not constitute human beings. They're partly probably different beings. Some of them are in fact lesser human beings, and much lesser in fact. But in the case of Hinduism, for example, as a group of people, class of people, that's the Brahmins, right? In the caste system of Hinduism, there's a Brahmin, the Kshatriya, the Vaishya, and the Sudras.